Hey friends, welcome back to the Anchored in Learning podcast. It is Vanessa Alzate, and today we're going to talk about the buzzword of the year, and will still be next year, AI. Is AI coming for our necks in learning and development? My hot take? Yeah, it is. It is really coming for our necks. And I think that we are, and I had a kind of a different answer before this morning, which is to say before last night. But I've been trying to create a bunch of content and trying to create a bunch of like just marketing stuff and just playing more with what's available. And I have been amazed at how quickly I'm creating certain things of like not terrible quality, like proposals, pitch decks, one pagers, content like carousel posts and like, really doing more short form video for my long form content, like all of those things. And y'all, it's here. And I haven't upgraded for it, but it's actually I think if you follow me on LinkedIn, you might have seen this post. I tell people I always pick up a couple projects a year so that I can keep my skills fresh. And I hadn't done anything in articulate storyline all year, which I'm very proud of because for years I lived in storyline every single day. And I just like don't want to fuck around with variables anymore and triggers. But I do like to get in there, play around and like see what's new. And I had the AI, like all the AI buttons came up. Not that I have that level of access, but I'm like, okay, this is really happening, y'all. You can put content in and content will come out. I was even looking for help, like if I wanted to create an ebook or some sort of PDF, like I want to create this lead magnet, and I could give it to my graphic designer who do a freaking phenomenal job because she is amazing. And actually today's her birthday, so happy birthday, Kim. But like, is there something else out there to at least get me started, or for things that I don't care about it being super high quality, like Kim quality? Oh man, that's so funny. I'm going to have to text her now and be like, my barometer for graphic design is Kim quality. I love this. But anyway, and so they're looking at some different tools that are out there and like, not again, Kim quality, right? Not great, but like also not terrible and a really good place to start. And so where before I would have said like, no, we're good, we're secure, whatever. I don't think we're fully secure. One thing that is always a challenge in our industry is pulling us from our role and then, getting laid off and then someone else picking up that work or giving it to a subject matter expert. And for years, subject matter experts had to like do the work themselves, right? Like they had to create PowerPoint. There'd be death by PowerPoint and like all of these things. And we dealt with it. But then eventually the learning department would come back because people knew that was crappy quality. You know what I mean? It wasn't great. And it was taking a lot of time from their subject matter experts. Now I'm like looking at this stuff and I'm like, damn, I could be a SME, drop a lecture I've done in some AI and come out with not bad stuff, like a pretty good start. I even had someone text me. I'm going to pull up her text. We were talking literally about this, what AI is doing to us. And she said, she's, playing around with it. And she said, where is our text? There we go. In about 30 minutes, she was able to create a SCORM compatible training. Then she made her own chatbot for learning, fed it some websites and proposals, and now she can ask it questions of how to do things like needs analysis, and it pops up a few questions and and was able to make her, needs analysis framework. And one of the tools she used for that was Claude, like $20 a month. This is the future. It is up to us. Now, like, okay, again, decision-making framework, like there's lots of things that we have to like do, right? I mean, anything that AI pulls out for me, I'm rewriting in some way, shape, or form. But at least gives me that brainstorming, that jumping off point. Even podcast episodes. Like I put in some general crap ideas and then me and ChatGPT have like a good little dialogue about it. And then I come here and I throw out most of the conversation and I just speak from the heart because that's how I do. That's why no one can ever follow a script for me. In my, like when I was doing like YouTube videos with my YouTube editor, right? Because I was literally the worst. So anywho, this is what we need to start getting good at. Saving our time by using the AI that we have available. Please don't upload any confidential and secured information, for the love. But that was 30 minutes of her time. Now the content probably wasn't great, but now if you've got the bones to start, you can take and start to edit and start to make changes and start to do things differently, right? And so like, we've got this really cool opportunity, and I'm just afraid that we're not going to embrace and think about everything else, because the things that the AI is not thinking about is everything else around it, right? Like you can throw content in, but if we haven't surveyed our learners, if we don't have a learner persona, if we don't have that profile, if we don't really think through, access and all this stuff, we're just thinking of learning as developing a bunch of content and having it available. Like that's not it. But now we get to have fun and be consultative in our roles. And we don't just have to create content all day. We can let the AI do a lot of it. We do the tweaks. And then now we can sit down and really think through, before, during, and after the strategy, the execution of that strategy, the analysis, the evaluation. Ooh, do a little 4 levels evaluation. Yeah, finally have time for it. And I've said this, I've heard it said by others. This is like, I'm not like, please don't quote me as the person that started saying this, 'cause I'm surely not. AI is not going to replace you necessarily, but someone that knows how to use AI will. And that is a fact. It's wild to think that we're in this world, like we're in the same era as when the internet came out. So like for all my peeps, all millennials and above that remember the time of the internet when it came out and the dial up, bing, bing, you've got mail. That's my only attempt at sound effects, y'all. I'm not your girl for that. But like I know we're all hearing it. I know we're all thinking of it. I know we're all hearing the AIM close of the door. When a friend used to log off AIM, or the opening of the door when they used to come on, you used to run to your computer. Who was it? Like that was the time. We used to go into chat rooms and, just probably shouldn't have been in a lot of those, but it's the internet, y'all. Every generation has something they probably shouldn't be doing. So that was my generation. And now there are Instagram reels about it. Anyway, where we are today with AI is that same era where it felt really new. Some people embraced it, others didn't. And yet it started to become a necessity. You can't do anything without internet, without Wi-Fi now, without your phone. That is what's going to happen for AI. This is not the same as gamification or microlearning. Like when it first came out, I was like, is this going to be the same shiny object as microlearning? When it first came out and became big, like gamification, like never really took off. And I'm not seeing that. But here is the reason why. And here is the lesson in this. It's because AI is now touching other areas of the business, and the business is finding value in utilizing AI. I'm going to say it again. It's because AI is touching other sides of the business, and the business and those leaders are finding value in AI. Gamification is a learning thing, right? Like, other areas of the business like do some form of gamification, but it's not like everybody's gamed, everyone's doing gamification. Overtake an entire organization with gamification. So that's why people just like aren't that into it. And like, to be honest, like your girl here is not like a game gal, in case you couldn't tell. So it's not really something that I find necessarily useful. Like I necessarily need. I don't know. I also get motivated by a leaderboarding competition. So who knows? I'm a walking contradiction, y'all. But AI can touch every single person in an organization. It also addresses our pain points. Gamification doesn't really address a pain point, like that deep of a pain point. Microlearning should touch more of a pain point. We just really love to sound really smart and create and assume that everyone needs to know everything in the beginning. Cause we'll remember that. That's a different topic for a different day. But like AI addresses some deep pain points where it's like, I don't know how I did my job before this. I mean, I know how I did it. It would take a really long time, this is me. So I'm going to own that this is me. Or I would take a really long time and procrastinate because I just I'm the worst graphic designer. It's like not my thing. I can tell you what I like and what looks good. I'll throw something nice into Canva. Then I'll end up hating it, but that's a different topic again for a different day. But that's my pain point, right? And I found a tool that's going to help solve that, right? I need to create a month's worth of content, 3 months worth of content. AI is going to help me do that. It solves a lot of problems in our world too. Like we talk about personalization, right? As like a need. And we talk about, how are we ever going to personalize learning to like every single person out there? AI is going to help solve that. AI is going to say, okay, we can do this. We can give you based on the algorithm and the inputs when people are connecting with and the prompts that they're asking or the questions they're asking, we can personalize learning experience for them. Finally, personalization is an expectation. It is not a nice to have. I want to come to work. This is part of, if you listen to the employee experience podcast episode and that, the missing link, part of it is like, I want my company to know who I am and invest in me as a human, as a person, in my interests. I don't want to be just given generic content. That's just boring. It makes me feel like I'm just a number, which goes directly against making someone feel like the shit and like we appreciate you and we want you. We are really happy that you're here. Personalization is closer than ever before. And so now it's time for us to really rethink our learning strategy. I don't think that we're doing that yet. I think some probably are. It's not a blanket statement, but I'd say for the most part, we're not. We're still just turning out content. And then when I think about, how to scale, AI is the way to scale learning. One thing that I was chatting with a colleague of mine, we created 7 or 8 e-learns for a customer on their software system. Now, I was just a developer. I didn't help with strategy. I didn't write the storyboards. So don't come for me. I just had to develop them. But these are beasts of modules. Some of the 45-minute, an hour, we are in there. Way too much content. But they update so often, their system, because, it's software as a service. That's a perk, right, of SaaS is frequent updates. That every year we're getting a new really big change order, which is really nice for us, or a new SOW to update their modules. And the project sponsor is sick and tired of it. He's like, I just don't want to do this. There has to be a better way. And so we're looking at other solutions to be more flexible, nimble, and agile, but to be able to truly scale learning. So people don't have to wait a whole year until, and sometimes longer, right? Because by the time it's actually developed, and all of those things, could be longer. That change has been made, that your training is out of date. Think about how much content you have out there that's probably out of date because you just don't have the time for maintenance. Utilizing these tools that help to develop these solutions at a faster pace and helps you to think about other ways to disseminate the information, more performance support things like chat bots, scenario-based learning, job aids, quick reference guides, all of those things, much faster to develop and host somewhere. And then if you can use AI, even faster. And if you surveyed people, honestly, I would say that what they find is more supportive are those tools as opposed to the foundational training. So it's pretty cool to see how AI can really help support some of these things. We just have to find good ways to embrace it and know that we are not going to be amazing at AI right away. It's going to take us a while. I was not cool with the internet for a while. You know what I mean? I was cool with it, but I wasn't quick and understanding its full capabilities. I'm probably still, it takes time to build up that muscle memory, to build up, okay, these are the tools that I'm going to use in order to do these things, right? And there is no one, okay, and here's the other thing, there's no one size fits all tool. I would love there if there was. So you have to figure out what tool is good for what. So there's lots of little things like that we have to take into consideration. This is the time. And if you can take from a business standpoint, reduce your production costs, but increase your value in the strategy and everything else around there, man, the profitability of those sorts of projects and the ability to take one tiny order, if you will, and then scale it to a bigger project and build that relationship. Because, it's easier to sell someone when they are a returning customer, an existing customer, than a new customer, into bigger projects. Because you've built that trust. You've probably signed an MSA. They don't want to go through that process again with procurement. This is how you build and you scale your own business. You can reduce some of that production time and you increase value. Doesn't mean you drop price. So again, I don't want to be the ones, as Vanessa said, we can drop price because we're reducing our development costs. That's not what she is saying. What she is saying is reduce development time, cost, resources, increase value that you are providing, and increase the things that actually matter and that are going to take you from order taking to consultation. And that is how you build and you scale and you do things more that unless you really love development, You do more things that actually interest you. I was so jet. Like I left that call with the prospective client that I was talking about at the beginning of this podcast. Like I was talking about this one, I was talking about the last one I recorded. I met with an organization and they need to like basically create their whole entire training department. There's actually 2 customers I'm talking to about this whole, like their training and their learning strategy for their organization. That's the shit I eat for breakfast. Like, I love that. Like, give me that all day, because developing that strategy and helping to build the foundation in like the right way, not in a perfect way, but like a really good way and a way that we can learn, fail, and then adjust and scale. I was trying to rhyme, so that's why I kind of paused. That's where the money's at. That's where the value's at. That's where like my creativity can come back. And that's where you act like, you know, if you're watching the podcast, you might see like my shoulders back, like I'm more elated. Like, whereas if I was talking to you right now about our particular storyline, I'd be like shoulders down, sunken in, like, sucks. But you want to talk about strategy and bigger picture stuff, like all day, every day. So is AI coming for our next? Yes. And we have an opportunity to use it to really showcase more of our value so that we adjust our role and really start to be learning and performance and not learning and development. So friends, please tell me how you are using AI, your thoughts on it, what tools are must-haves for you. And I will catch you all on the next episode.